Hey, Void. How you doing? So, finally back after taking a little bit of time since I seem to go on these big spurts, get a whole bunch done, and then I'm blown out. Once I actually get on top of my backlog, I think it'll even out a little bit, but that's still a big ask. Okay. So, this is one of the ones I pulled from the beginning of my collection, since I'm still trying to eventually get through everything, so I was still trying to grab anything that started with a number and watch it. So, 21. 21 is one of those movies that falls into this weird sort of liminal space for me. It's a movie I almost never want to actually put on and watch. I like the movie, it's good, and I was happy to add it to my collection, but I'm not really in the mood for it. If, like, in this case, where I just okay, it's the next one in the queue, let's put it on. When I put it on, it was fine, it's good. But it's one of those ones that's just never feels like the right time to watch it. And you guys have movies like that? It's just a movie you like, but just never feel like getting back to. That's 21 for me. So, 21. Blackjack, the movie. Essentially, it's a movie about a group of kids that are trained by Kevin Spacey to count cards to rip off casinos. There's your movie. Follows our lead. I watched this a couple weeks ago, so his name's escaping me. Ben, who's essentially a prodigy, can work numbers really well, but he's trying to get into a prestigious school, needs a lot of money or a crazy scholarship. But he's got no real experience outside of studying, so life experience to write a big fancy paper on, not really there, so he chooses to get involved in this group to defraud casinos. Meanwhile, Lawrence Fishburne is a part of a video surveillance team that's industry is dying, so he's trying to make the most and get one last good bust before his company goes pretty much out of business. And there's our setup. Kevin Spacey now is definitely a hard watch, but in this case he is playing kind of a slimy character, so it's actually kind of fitting. So, that kind of has a fitting role for someone who's had those issues pop up. But overall, the main cast is likable. And they do have good chemistry, particularly the main Ben and his romantic interest, whose name is also now escaping me, Jill. So, essentially, they play off of each other very well. The only one who really doesn't is Fisher, played by Jacob Pitts. His character, right off the bat, is just antagonistic towards Ben for no real reason, and and his character just seems to, end with no real resolution. Now, this movie is based on a book that's based on a true story. That grain of salt there. Essentially, this sort of thing did happen, but it was essentially. The book itself is not a direct account, and even then it's pretty much said it was more based on a series of events that took place over years rather than one group. So it's kind of based on a series of events that actually happened. And a few of the things in here did occur, but it wasn't all to the same characters. So a lot of liberties were taken in both the book and in this. So I know in the original, I believe it was mostly a group of Asian students, and with this case, it was just a couple in there as a token nod towards that, but it wasn't any one group. It was the actual event was a series of them. Now, it's got a lot of energy. It does kind of fall into this weird sort of party porn. Essentially, the main characters you get this vicarious high of seeing them succeed and then bask in their success. Up until, the floor eventually falls out and, we have to actually have a conflict here. But, overall, the plot itself is kind of thin, but they dress it up with fun characters and just enough glitz that it's fine. It's not a great movie, but it's one that it is enjoyable to watch, even if I never get around to coming back to it. For me, it's a solid, like, probably wants to say 5 MacGuffins just because it is one of those movies that it's just kind of there. But I have rated things higher, so I'll give it 6, just because once it is on, it is enjoyable. It's got good chemistry to it. It's not reinventing any wheels, but it's a fun little watch. Yeah, so 21, give it 6. Alright. That's really all for me on this one. Yeah. I don't know how to really segue for this one. There's not much here, but it's a fun bit of not much, if that makes sense. Yeah, okay. See you later. Bye.